Hello, this is Susan at Shipwreck Beads. You know, I love the holidays, and making fun earrings is just part of it. And of course, once you make one pair, you have to make a pair for everybody, you know. So we are going to make some Mrs. Claus. And I've got both the black and white person version of the Mrs. Claus here. I'm using a 3-inch head pin to feed the body and full body onto, including the silver slippers. For the slippers, I'm using the silver pips because they've got the hole in the right direction that the feet kind of stick out. I think that's fun. We've got some 12 millimeter clear red beads for the body. A bead cap. This is just in our zinc line, so a small bead cap to go over, give her kind of a scarf kind of thing, and then a daisy spacer. Really, it's I'm calling it a necklace, but it's really to seat the bead properly on top of the bead cap. So I've put a silver daisy spacer there, and then the head, of course, is a 10 millimeter bead, so you've got some difference in size between the body and the head. And then we've got a red crystal rondelle, because really you've got to have some sparkly happening. So a red crystal rondelle, that's out of the Preciosa line, and a crystal red bicone. I really like using the crystal ones instead of the glass bicones. Really, I like both, but the crystal ones have a bit sharper tip, and since that's going to be our nightcap, I like that sharper tip better. And then just a little 4 millimeter round for a snowball on top of the cap, and then of course whatever ear wire you prefer. Not a lot of tools required here. We're just going to make an eye. Well, we're going to wrap the eye onto the ear wire, and then to be able to make the eye for the ball, so it dangles separately from the cap. You get some movement that way to go along with that sparkle. Just gives it a bit sharper look. And then really any ear wire that you prefer. So to get us going, I'm using a 3-inch head pin. You know, normally I go with a 2-inch. I pretty much use them for everything. But with character earrings, I find that I get so carried away with beads, I need a longer head pin. So the tools then, typical for making eyes, you need your wire cutter to cut off the excess, your chain nose to hold the eyes, and of course the round nose to make the eye. So that's what we've got going on here on my bead mat. So to get us going, I didn't mention these, but I do use seed beads as spacers, pretty much for everything. Now, if you've got like a little 2 millimeter metal ball or something like that, that'll work just as well. But I find with pips, there's space in between when you put them together on a wire, that I don't want those to flop around and such. I want them to stay where I want to put them, and it helps seat the beads on top of them a lot better. So I'm using just a little silver seed bead. These are size 11 to give us that little space in between, but not really take away from anything. And then now that I've got the feet on, we'll add the 12 millimeter round. I can find the hole, there we go. And then a bead cap and daisy spacer. And then with the white version, I am using a 10 millimeter round, and it looks like I didn't get that out, so give me just a second while I grab that. Now, this isn't as clear as your round body is. This is called a matte finish, so it's kind of frosted, just to give it a little bit different look. If you've got white or solid white or something like that, that works just as well. And go ahead and put the cap rim on, and then the cap top. And just like that, we've got the little Mrs. Claus. Now let's go ahead and make the eye. You could probably have gotten away with a 2-inch head pin. I just like to have lots of room. So I'm really going to squish these beads down. That's what's going to make these pips stay in place before I make my bend. And then we've got the eye. I'm going to go with an oversized eye. I am going to put these on ear wires, but I need to add the pom-pom for the hat. So I want to make sure I've got room for both and they don't get all caught up in the ear wire. So let's go ahead and close this eye and get it wrapped up. And I'm going to wrap it down to the bicone. So again, it just really tightens everything up and keeps it in place. So normally I'd just go twice around, but I want to make sure it's nice and tight against that bicone. So 3 will do. And cut off that excess. And you can see I just didn't have a whole lot of excess to cut off. Just that tiny little bit there. And smooth down that wrap. Now if you've never made wrapped eyes, you just pull that wire around, and then I'm tapping down with the very nose of my chain nose on that tail, and that gets it just snug up against the wire. And then all I need to do then to finish this off is I am going to grab a 2-inch head pin for the pom-pom. Now you're going to have lots to cut off because that's such a tiny little guy. And for this one I'm just going to make an eye. I'm not going to wrap it. And I can open that back up and put her on her hat. And then the ear wire. Let's open up that eye and slip Mrs. Claus right on and close that up. Give it a little squeeze since I opened it. And there you go. You've got a little Mrs. Claus ready to go out and play or go shopping or whatever you need to do for your holiday fun. So let's go ahead and make the black one as well. Now it's put together exactly the same way, except for the black one I'm going to use this golden obsidian. This is stone rather than glass that I used for the head on her because it really has this gorgeous sheen in here, and I just think it looks lovely as my black Mrs. Claus. So same thing, we're still going to grab that 3-inch pin and put on 1 size 11 seed bead, my 2 silver slippers, there we go, and then I'm just spreading those so I can get them snugged up tight. Put on the other seed bead so I've got that flat finish, and same round red body, and then the same bead cap. Now you can certainly use any bead cap you like. I just happen to like the looks of these to give her that, the top of her skirt. And then the daisy spacer, her head, again I'm using a 10mm golden obsidian for the head, and then my crystal rondelle, crystal bicone. So I've got all kinds of sparkle happening. And let's wrap that eye. Again, I'm just going to really get that down nice and tight. And a larger than normal eye. And then I use 2 chain nose to wrap. Hang on to the eye with one, and then grab the tail and just pull it around and try to keep that nice and snug against the wire. And then cut off that excess and just tamp down that tail. I don't know if you can see that, just that little bit of tail there. So we're going to tamp that down so it just gets nice and tight. And then our 2-inch head pin, really way more pin than what you need for this tiny little pom-pom. A little glass round. And again, cut off that excess. Lots to cut off on this one because that's so tiny. Much smaller eye to get this attached. And then about the only real thinking that I do on these is how I put them on the ear wire. So on one side the pom-pom will flop in that direction, and in the other ear it'll flop in the other direction. That'll make them look even when you're wearing them. I don't know if anyone actually pays attention to that, or if it's just me and I think it needs to be done, but there we go. I like them to be on opposite sides. So we'll go ahead and open this ear wire. And there we go. Get it closed up. Give it a smush to harden it. And you've got just a really fun pair of earrings. Now, if you also want you want to turn this into a pendant rather than wearing it as earrings, of course you'll only wear one unless you want to make two and give one away. I know that's certainly something that I would do. You just don't put it onto an ear wire. You would thread it onto a chain, or maybe you beaded up your own necklace and it needed to have that. Another fun idea is to put it on a lobster claw, and it can now be a zipper pull, and have a zipper pull for your favorite hoodie in the winter. So Mrs. Claus is all ready to go. Certainly take a look at our other holiday earrings. Mr. Santa is in there as well, and again we'll have the black and white version of him. If you want to make one of each, that sure makes for a fun pair. So happy beading to you and happy holidays. Have a great day, and we'll see you later.